Hello, good morning. Bob here. I'm at LADC in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and today I'd like to go over the serenity prayer. Many people know the first four lines. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And that's good, but there's more to that prayer. And I think that sometimes we just get caught up in saying the words without actually understanding what those words mean. And so today I'm going to be looking at the full prayer, and I'm going to be looking at the words separately. So the word serenity, if you ask a person what serenity means, most people will say peace. I say peace of mind, peace of heart. We're asking, a prayer is like a petition, so we're petitioning for peace. And the reason we're even asking for peace is because we're not able to find it in our own lives. So God grant me, we're going to a higher power because we can't find it at this level. So we're asking our higher power to grant. Grant is a word which means to give freely. If you get a grant to go to college, you don't have to pay the grant back. So we're asking our higher power to freely give me that peace of mind, the serenity to accept. Accept is an interesting word. The word accept means to be okay with. To accept the things. What are things? Well, that could be the people. That could be a life situation. That could be the passing of a loved one. That could be getting fired from a job. That could be a whole host of things. But we have to be okay with those things that rob us of our happiness, and especially those things that we cannot change. We cannot change another person's mind. We cannot change another person's heart. We cannot change the situation that we find ourselves in many times. But we also need the courage, which basically means bravery, to be able to change those things that I can change. Now, what can we change? We can change, we can change our kid's diaper. We can change our minds. We can change our heart. We can change our perception of reality. We can change how we choose to view other people. And the wisdom, we got to be wise about this to know the difference, because a lot of people think that if another person would only change, then their life would be much better. It doesn't work that way. My happiness is not tied up with somebody else. My happiness is on me. Now, the rest of this prayer, living. Now, living is one of those words that many times people in addiction are not living a full life. They're existing. When I think of existing, I think of a mushroom growing on a log in the dark, in a dark area. But we have to live one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time. Sometimes we get so used to the waterfall flow of dopamine, such as when we use drugs and alcohol, but we don't get used to the trickle of dopamine. So let me give you an example of what a trickle might be. You wake up in the morning and you smell coffee. Okay, that smell of the coffee is a little bit of enjoyment. It trickles a little bit of dopamine into your system. Maybe you smell bacon cooking. I love bacon. Okay, my mouth is watering. I triggered myself. So enjoying one moment at a time, finding something that you can enjoy, even on the worst days. Look for those little things that you can enjoy. The next line is hard for some people to grasp. Accepting hardship. Again, the word accept is to be okay with, and hardship is the situation that you might find yourself in right now. Being unemployed, being divorced, whatever. Accepting those hardships as a pathway to peace. And a lot of people go like, well, how can a hardship turn out to be a pathway to peace? Well, that's a good question. I think that if we've gone through the hardships, we've learned our lessons, we know what not to do, we put boundaries in place, and then we, depending on how much we want happiness, we're going to enforce those boundaries so that we don't make stupid mistakes over and over and over again. Sometimes I think about a moth flying to a flame. Well, we're not moths. A moth will flutter to the flame. It gets hot, it backs away, but it flutters back, and eventually it catches a wing on fire, burns up, and dies. That's a pretty good analogy of what people do in addiction also. We're not moths. We have a brain. We need to utilize it to the best of our ability. Taking as he did, we're talking about Jesus, okay? This sinful world as it is, not as I would have it. Now, that's a tough one, because a lot of people don't understand that this world doesn't belong. It was created by God, but it belongs to the devil. Not going to get into theology on this one. Just trust me. You can look in the New Testament. One of the temptations that Jesus had was the devil said, if you get down and worship me, I will give you all that you see. And it's not a temptation if he didn't have ownership of it in the first place. Okay, sort of like me saying, I'll give you $1 million if you do something stupid. Got news for you. I don't have $1 million, so it's not a real temptation now, is it? Now, if my name was, say, Donald Trump, and I say I'll give you $1 million, and I put the cash on the table, then it would be a real temptation. Taking the sinful world as it is, being okay with it as it is, not as I would have it. Again, this goes back to, if only this would change, I would be happy. Trusting, being able to believe, trusting that he, God, will make all things right, provided if I surrender to his will. That's a big one right there. Trusting that he will make all things right, provided, it's a provision, I surrender to his will. Many times when we're in our addictions, we have surrendered to the good feeling of that substance that it brings. That I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with him forever in the next. It didn't say you're going to be happy every single day while you're here on this planet just because you're clean and sober. You're going to have really tough days. You're going to have days that try you. You're going to have days that challenge you. But the point is if you can endure and maintain, you're going to be reasonably happy. Okay, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate that. A lot of people don't even know there is more to the Serenity prayer than the first 4 lines. If you have enjoyed this video, you found it useful, if the Serenity prayer makes a little bit more sense to you, please like and comment and subscribe. Thank you very much. Have a great day.